And there's gonna be glitter everywhere. Hello friendships! Welcome to another magical movie review with me, Magic by Molly. I already have glitter falling in my eyeball. Today we're continuing our Marvel Cinematic Universe series, or MCU, with Thor. If you haven't watched any of the other MCU magical movie reviews, I definitely recommend going back and watching those just so that you can get yourself caught up, and or make sure that you watch the film after this review just to make sure that you get the full experience. As you can see, I'm definitely rocking some Rockstar glitter today just because I feel like while Iron Man uses classic rock, I feel like Thor's aesthetic is definitely more like rock and roll, just with like the colors and his outfit. And of course, I don't really know what I'm doing when I do these Disney bounds. I just kind of try to put something together. So I put my flannel shirt on. I also put my Wayward AF shirt on. This is technically a Supernatural shirt, but I thought it was more than appropriate for our buddy Thor. Especially when if you know the story, kind of that whole like prodigal son sub-story there, so I felt like it was appropriate. We break things up into 4 major sections. We dive into magical moments, which are things that I like about the movie, things that bring me joy, or really mostly funny moments. We also talk about enchanting efforts, which are things that I don't super love about the movie or kind of just leave big question marks over my head. Then we also select a VMP, or a very magical person, that wins the episode. And last but not least, I rank my movies in my preferred watch list order of the movies that we've been able to look at so far. Alright, so let's just dive right in with magical moments. I, of course, think Chris Hemsworth was a perfect cast for Thor. Superficially, going into the movie, I'm like, of course they're gonna pick a pretty boy to play a god, but I definitely underestimated his acting ability here. I think he has a really good combination of being an action star and also a comedian, which is a very hard transition to make, especially in one single movie, let alone from film to film, which these actors participate in. I was surprised by how well I thought Chris Hemsworth portrayed our good buddy Thor. So I would say that that's a magical moment for me, or really just a magical theme throughout the movie. I also, when I first watched the film, I was thoroughly impressed with the plot. I had no preconceived notions about Thor, what this movie was going to be about when I went into it. Actually, I could say that that's true for all of the movies, but one thing that is really different about Thor is all of the other superheroes, we watch their coming of age and how they became super, or how they become heroes. Where in Thor, we're already starting out of the gate where he's a freaking god. Like, you can't get much more powerful than that. And we see the deconstruction of that godliness into human with a little bit of super strength, and then him rebuild himself. So kind of similar to Iron Man, we saw like the redemption pretty early, and we got to see the benefits of that. In this movie, we're seeing the peak at the very beginning, then a fall, and then another peak there at the end when he redeems himself and he's deemed worthy of Mjolnir, or Mjolnir's power, of course. I like Thor because of that kind of switch up in storyline. It's not all like he was a weakling or just an ordinary person that got bit by a spider or built his own suit, or however. It definitely makes him stand out and be a little bit more unique when it comes to being one of the Avengers. I also live for the family drama. A lot like Iron Man, you've got that kind of tension between your family members. You've got the opposite father relationship here, where Thor admires his father, he wants to be more like him, but it's his brother that he's feuding with and has that really difficult relationship where you know that they love each other, that they care for each other, but they're so often on feuding sides because of just who they are, like their DNA. And that's a huge plot twist when I'm watching this movie. I'm like, okay, well, his little brother's just jealous of Thor. Cool, like he's probably gonna try to like outdo him, but it's not just that he's jealous of Thor, it's that he feels like he doesn't belong, and for a specific reason. He is a descendant of the ice giants, and it really answers a lot of his personal questions about who he is as a person and what his destiny is supposed to be, or what he thinks it should be now that he has all this information. I really like that subplot of the story. I think it builds in nicely with Thor's rebuilding. So while there's a lot of different plots going on, they go really well together. I also like the introduction of Hawkeye into this movie. He's definitely one of those like subtle Avengers that just kind of gets slid in. It's of course very brief, which kind of brings me into my enchanting efforts. I wish, like we got with Black Widow or Natasha Romanoff, we got a little bit of her backstory. We got kind of like the reason why she's plugged into this story, but we didn't really get that with Hawkeye. And he's, I think, an underrated Avenger. He's definitely very skilled. He definitely saves the day more than once, and he just kind of is plugged in as the bodyguard of Mjolnir when it's kind of just stuck in the ground. But he's funny. I really like his line when he says, you better hurry up because I'm starting to root for this guy, which I know is a magical moment. So right here in this weird spot, we're kind of transitioning back and forth from magical moment to enchanting effort. But enchanting effort for Hawkeye, I wish we got a little bit more because he is an important character and we don't really have a lot of his backstory. And now that I think about it, we don't get much more of it moving forward into the other movies. So I kind of wish that we had taken that opportunity here, but I know, of course, like, there's only so much time we have to work with. I know that this might be an unpopular opinion. Don't know how many people agree with this, but a big reason why I don't like this movie is Natalie Portman. I'm not a huge fan of Natalie Portman. I don't think that she is a very good actress. Of course, she's better than some, clearly to the point where she's made a claim for herself. I feel like she plays the same person in all of her movies, so I was so bored by her. And then on the other side, I just don't think that she did Jane justice. Jane is supposed to be this quirky scientist who puts her work above everything else. Marvel has such a really great way of introducing female romantic characters as strong personalities that like are easy to fall in love, like we see with Peggy and Captain America, we see with Pepper Potts and Iron Man. They can stand on their own as a character within the movie without being like babbling idiots over these superheroes. Now, is that realistic? No. I'm sure that I would be a babbling idiot if I met Thor in person and I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Sure. Am I being a little harsh? Absolutely. Her personality, it to me feels like it just swings so far back and forth that I can't keep up with who she is as a character, who Jane is as a character. And also I think the swinging, the actual mood swings that she goes through, Natalie just doesn't do a very good job. So Adam gets a huge kick out of us watching this movie together because I'm like verbally complaining about Natalie Portman the entire time. And maybe it's because I'm secretly jealous. I don't know. There's probably some personal shit that I need to work through. I have this question every time I watch Thor, or anytime this character is in any of the Avenger movies. Hemdall who is basically the watcher over, I always want to say Arendelle, and that's not right. He's the gatekeeper of Asgard. Knows all. Idris Elba is a very good Heimdall. Does he not get breaks? Like, I feel like there should be some kind of union that he's a part of that gives him weekends and holidays off. Like, does he have a backup? Like, does he get sick? Like, he can't be there all the time. What if he has to go to the bathroom? Does he not go to the bathroom? Is he that magical? I don't know. He doesn't seem any more or less human than the rest of them that has to have bodily function. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but I feel like he needs help. I feel like he needs support. If I were there, I would start a union for him. He needs to go to the bathroom. Just let Heimdall take a break. Damn, I feel very passionately about this. But that's pretty much it. I really don't have a lot of strong feelings about Thor the movie, magical moments or enchanting efforts. I think overall it's a decent movie. It's a decent film. I think it's got a simple plot, really great characters, except for Natalie Portman. For my VMP, of course, I'm gonna go with Thor. I think he's funny. I think he has really great wit. He's cocky, but he kind of gets brought down to earth quite literally, and we see him grow. And his story is very unique in comparison to the other ones, the other Avengers, that is. So I think he has my vote for VMP, but definitely comment down below if you feel like another character stands out a little bit more, or at least is comparable for the VMP title. With that being said, now I'm gonna list out my rankings of the movie so far. I am keeping Iron Man at the top, then Captain America, the First Avenger, Thor, Captain Marvel, Iron Man 2, and The Incredible Hulk. I definitely went back and forth between Thor and Captain America for the number 3 spot, which is surprising for myself, especially the first time watching Captain Marvel. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was great. I definitely liked it a little bit more this, I think this is the third time that I watched it. Sometimes when I'm looking at pros and cons and if they have a similar number or if the weight of the pros are about the same, I literally just put them side by side and say, if I had to pick one for movie night, which one would I go with? And that's how I bump one up above or below the others. That's how I feel about Thor. If I had to choose between the two for movie night, I definitely would go with Thor. It's just a feel-good film. It's definitely reliable as a Marvel movie, and I'm here for it. If you have any arguments one way or the other, if you have any rankings of the films that we've done so far, definitely put those into the comments below. Make sure again that you subscribe to my channel. Go back and watch all of the magical movie reviews for the MCU so far, because next week we're coming up on our first Avengers movie, so that would definitely be beneficial for everybody to make sure that we're on the same page. Make sure that you like this video, give me some feedback on things that you want to see, things that you want to hear more of, and also make sure that you hit the little notification next to the subscribe button so that you can be notified every time a magical movie review gets posted. Alright everybody, thank you so much again for hanging out with me for Magical Movie Review. I really enjoy spending our Mondays together to start off the week. As always, stay weird and don't be a turd.